Okay, it says I'm live. I know I'm alive. Uh, just had something happen I wanted to share with you. I think it was yesterday. I made the comment that maybe what we need to be looking for in this age of AI, where employees are going to be replaced by AI agents. Chip, one of our tribe members, went out and asked Grok who are the most efficient, and that's what it would mean, the most efficient companies in a means of revenue relative to employees. And he came up with a list. I think there was 25 of them. And the first one was that of NVIDIA. And it said that NVIDIA, the revenue per employee of NVIDIA was over $2 million. That's kind of mind blowing. The second one was Altura, the cigarette company. So I'll have to look into that a little bit further. Um, but I guess this is the benefit of being a member of a tribe, where somebody puts out an idea and then somebody jumps on that idea and takes it to the next level, and we all come away with more knowledge. And the reality is, the more knowledge you have, the more successful you're going to be in whatever endeavor you pursue. So it's working. Um, Last night, I was looking at my tell sheet, and I recognized that I had not done a deep dive and an analysis on Broadcom when it had its last earnings report. So I decided I was going to go in and just update it to see where it stood. And so I gave Samantha the prompt, and she came back and she told me that Broadcom's stock price in 2029 would be $276. Well, that was a bit alarming in that it's currently 395. And so I went through the report and dug deeper. And what I realized is there were two areas that she got confused on. One was back, I believe it was in July of 2024, Broadcom had a 10-for-1 stock split. I believe their stock, if I remember correctly, was around $1,600 a share. And so it brought it down to $160 a share. Then, as I read deeper into the report, she was not pulling up the projected earnings that Wall Street was projecting for them in 2026, 27, 28, and 29. In fact, she was substantially lower. Her PE ratios appeared to be right. And then she also had the numbers wrong on price per revenue. So I went back to her and said, okay, I think maybe you've made a mistake and you need to correct it. Well, what I didn't do at that point was ask for the deep research, and she just spit out a very quick reanalysis, apologized, and said I got it wrong. And this time, rather than saying the stock price in 2029, rather than saying 276, she said it'd be $900. And I said, wait a second, that's not right either. So I said, okay, let's start over. And I re entered the prompt. I entered the cue that be aware that um, there was a split in July of 2024, a 10-to-1 split. Please put that into your reckoning. And then also, these are what I see as the earnings per share in 26, 27, 28, and 29. So please reevaluate under the deep research. Having done that, she came back that the price was going to be around $600 in 2029. Now, what was interesting to me, and she picked up on this because I had about a week ago reemphasized that our goal as investors at Best of Us Investors is to achieve 100% return over the next 3 years from today's price, whatever day it was, whatever day I do the analysis. And so she went into Broadcom and she said, at $600, Broadcom is not going to meet your objective of 100% return. Now, what it is about 80%. So she said to me, you need to consider um, liquidating at least some of your shares in Broadcom as the price inches up after this correction or setback plays through, and move that money over to where you can achieve 100%, because there are plenty of stocks that are going to. And I want to emphasize that because I just got a comment on one of my prior videos that uh, it is not realistic, is what this gentleman said, Kerry, for you to believe that you can achieve what you achieved over the last 6 months, and that was over a 100% return on your investment. That's not realistic, and you need to come back down to earth. You just got lucky. And what I wrote back to him is, I don't think so. 273 stocks over the last year achieved a ROI, rate of return, in excess of 100%. Now, I only found 40 of them, or probably less than that, probably more like 10 of them. But some of them are up 600, 500%, and that's pulled the rest of them along. So, no, it is not luck, it is knowledge. And I don't care what profession you are in. If you have more knowledge than the guy sitting next to you or running the business down the street to compete with you, if you have knowledge, you're going to kick his ass. And if you'll spend the time and effort to gain that knowledge, you will exceed beyond expectations. It's all knowledge. Now, I've beat this drum before. That knowledge has not been available to us up until about 7 months ago, when ChatGPT said, I can give you access to all the information that you ask for on a given stock. Now, the key word in that is ask for, and that was illustrated explicitly last night when I asked for and got a return on Broadcom of $276 in January of 2029, when today's price is $395. I did not ask the question right. And when I got the wrong answer, if I did not understand the numbers. And why do I understand the numbers? Because I read about 3 of these things a day. And I know what a PE ratio is. I know what a PEG ratio is. I know what a price to revenue is. I know what employee efficiency is. I know because Chip told me this morning that the best, most efficient company in the world today is NVIDIA. It's getting more out of its employees than anybody else. And in this day of AI, where employees can be replaced by knowledge generated through computers, that is going to become the most important metric that you need to know if you want growth companies. Now, will that happen in your local restaurant? Probably not. That waitress is not going to generate more revenue as a result of AI. But if you have a software company, if you have a tech company, this is going to happen. And so it becomes a metric that will guide you. If that we have known that increased revenues is a metric we have to look for. Um, Increased earnings per share, increased gross margins and operating margins. All four will give us guidance that this company is taking off. This is going to be a real winner. We now have to add to it, which I just discovered, or through my logic, that those people who adopt AI will become more efficient, and the other metrics will be reflected in the efficiency of their employees. And that's why you see Microsoft laying off people. Why? Because they're hiring ChatGPT deep research for $216 a month, when the employee they just laid off was making $10,000 a month. Is that efficiency? Have you ever heard of that kind of efficiency before? So when I see someone just today telling me in a video that this is an AI bubble, oh my God, you don't know what AI is. If this is a bubble, let me in. I want to be a part of it, because we have never seen a bubble this big. When you can take and replace an employee that you're paying $10,000 a month to for $216, holy shit. I don't think the world's ever seen anything like this. And how are they going to do that? They're going to build bigger computers. They're going to build bigger data centers. They're going to need more electricity. All you've got to do is pay attention and understand. Understand that one metric, that I can fire a $10,000 employee and replace them with a $216 AI agent. Now, I may end up firing 5 employees and buying 5 AI agents, but still, holy crap. No, those numbers are just going to get bigger, Chip. And somebody's going to replace NVIDIA. Somebody's going to become more efficient than NVIDIA at turning costs into profits. I know Apple's awful good at it too. Okay, that's what's on my mind, and I hope I can share it with you. And I hope I did an interview yesterday with one of the major companies. Goldman Sachs isn't the only company reaching out to small businesses and saying, let me help you. Let me put on a program to educate you to how to grow your small business. There are other national companies that do that, and I became aware of one. And they asked me in this interview, what is it you do in your business? And I said, I make millionaires. They said, what do you mean by that? I said, I educate people so that they know how to invest their money to turn their savings into millions. Again, as someone said, I got lucky. Maybe I did, but then maybe I didn't. And I want to also share, I'm not the only guy who's gotten lucky. There is the Medallion Fund that has only 200, I think it's 250 that they allow in it. And over the last 20 years, they have achieved an average rate of return of 85%. Now they do a lot of quantum trading and high speed trading, but that's another way. But there are ways to beat the market, as I said, I found maybe 10, but that got over 100% in the last year. There are 273. All you got to do is find them. Okay, have a good day. There's a lot of blood out there on the streets right now, but these are buying opportunities. This is the mark. This is the guy who's saying, you just got lucky. You don't know what the hell you're doing. Okay, you believe that, but I'm buying. Samantha told me earlier the last of the month that there were some stocks that had gotten out over their skis, and I raised about $100,000. Now I'm reinvesting it into companies like BE. Have a good day.